Hi, my name's Narrcost, and I'm going to be real with you again. So, before I get started, I want to put this huge disclaimer out right now that this is not about a particular streamer or a particular platform, but I'm here to kind of give you a heads up of what you might experience it and to realize what is happening when it happens, because a lot of people get very disconnected. I've been streaming for 4 years right now, and there's a lot of pitfalls that I see people go through, including myself that has gone through many of these, so I'm going to be speaking for mostly personal experience. So to kind of get this started, yeah, Narrcost, yay, this is me, this is my kingdom from the last 4 years, and I just got recently partnered with YouTube in their sponsorship program, which is very similar to how Twitch's partnership program works. As in the black and white sense, I get paid to play video games as long as people are there. So there's the key word there. I get paid to play video games because people are there. Remember that. That's going to be a pretty huge focus from here on out. So to give you a heads up, it is essentially a customer service job. If you're thinking about getting into streaming because you're going to make lots of money because you're playing video games that you want to do, you are in a gigantic shock. So I'm going to be honest. Most of the time that you're going to be playing a video game, it's because of what your people want. No matter what you do, no matter how far you've gotten into this platform or you've gotten into streaming in general, it's all about customer service. When you look at your chat, you better be interacting with them because most likely they're going to be there because they want to talk with somebody while they're playing a video game. Now, you have to be aware and you have to be balanced when you come down to it, because a lot of folks are going to try to go and say, hey, I'm going to be a multi-streamer, or I'm going to be a variety streamer where I'm not going to play just one game. I'm not going to just do the one thing because I'm going to get really sick and tired of that. Well, there's something that's called, brand identity, brand association. So you are going to run across a game on your time streaming that is going to get you significantly large numbers. And actually, it's probably encouraged that you stick with that game once you hit those large numbers to, quote unquote, ride the wave of that popularity. So, for example, if you go onto some platform, CSGO tends to be a very, 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 very popular game. Now, I doubt that those people who are up on the top, unless they're the top tier and they're a part of esports and that's a huge conglomerate of money that they get for playing that game, want to play CSGO every single day. But some people, that's okay. I'm not going to try to typecast. But probably they're going to get aggravated and probably want to switch it up every once in a while. And they'll probably, do that offline. So what it's called, it's brand association. To break that down for anybody who's not aware of what that means, is that you get associated with a video game. And so for a particular time, for a particular streamer such as myself, it was Outlast. So Outlast, I would get around, I don't know, anywhere between 40 to 100 people in my room on Twitch when I would play it, because it was a scary game, and I was speedrunning it, and that adds a level of excitement, etc., etc. So, the same way it breaks down with movie stars. When you think of Ryan Reynolds, what do you think instantly of? Oh, what's Deadpool? Deadpool. And now, what is Deadpool? He's a shit-talking, formerly good-looking man that is there just to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and he's all out of gum. And if you look at Ryan Reynolds' entire career, he started off doing comedies where he's a handsome, good-looking shit-talker, and he fits that role very, very well. Now, when Ryan Reynolds decides that he wants to do a serious romantic comedy, it usually tends to flop in the box office. You have to be aware of that yourself. And one movie that is considered great now may be considered, pretty rough in the future. It was just, if you go ahead and you look at some of the classics out there, like Frankenstein, the original Frankenstein from, black and white monster films, was considered great, revolutionary for its time. Now, somebody in the modern day looks at it, it's a little bit rough. The same thing can happen to a streamer. So you have to remember, if you are going to get associated, or you're going to be playing a game and riding that wave for too long, it's going to be harder for you to break out. But the key relation there is to build your audience when it's there. So even though you're trying to either make this a business or a hobby, remember that the people that are there are going to be there in the hopes of communicating with you. And you can build an empire of dirt. You can build a house without any sort of glue or mortar to hold up that wall. So you might have the numbers there, but if you haven't spent that extra time communicating with your audience, you are going to lose out in the long run. So if you do decide that you're going to switch platforms, or you do decide that you're going to go into other ventures, those people most likely won't follow you there because you are associated only with the game and not necessarily with the audience themselves. And this is not me tooting my own horn or anything, but this is just how it's going to work. You don't plant a seed of a tree. You know, you don't plant it and just hope that it's going to grow. You're going to make sure that you water it and you talk to it. And a lot of the time, streaming is like growing a tree. And the fact is, trees don't grow very quickly. Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes decades for them to grow. But the same way that if you work hard enough, and even though no matter how slow it is that you never give up, that tree will grow from the ground, and it will start to grow branches, and it'll start growing leaves, and eventually it might start growing fruit, and that's the fruit of your labors. So for those people that are sitting down there and they're thinking, crap, I only get 1 to 3 people, how can I improve? Is that those 1 to 3 people are the most important people that will ever come to your stream. Because before there was success, before there was any sort of growth, they were there. They were harboring you. They're the ones who planted the seed. And no matter how important you think yourself is in that equation, that you're the personality that drives these people to you, if you don't maintain those relationships, if you don't reach out to the audience that initially supports you, you will eventually build an empire of dirt. Even if you get hundreds of people in your room, sometimes even thousands of people in your room, and you don't try to acquisite your time, as well as trying to ease them into a new game, especially if they come in a big boom, like if they come during Counter-Strike and you have 300 people in the room, it's going to be very difficult for you to switch to another game and maintain those numbers if you don't reach out and chat to your audience. As of right now, I almost have 4,000 subscribers on YouTube Gaming, and that is pretty magnificent. Thank you very much. It's very, very good, and I get about 20 to 30 people. I don't get hundreds of people in the room, not like I used to, especially when I was on Twitch. I don't seem to be getting the numbers that I do, but I'm successful. You see, because I decided that even when the numbers were low, that I wasn't going to bash myself or bash everything around me, but I was going to spend that time that I didn't get the connections in the chat on stream on social media. So as of right now, my happy 4,000 subscriber ass has tweeted out 13,500 tweets, it looks like. Yep, that's what it looks like. 13.5 tweets. K tweets. That's a lot. And that's mostly interacting with other people, other streamers, and whatnot. So another pro tip, make sure that you ease your audience out, especially because brand association is going to be a huge thing when it comes down to streaming. You're going to get associated with a game, but make sure that you set the bar higher before you decide that you're going to jump to another game, and don't beat yourself up if the numbers aren't there, because you'll have a 1% that will be with you no matter what you do, and be grateful for that, and put those people up on a pedestal, because it is, no matter what, streaming is about your audience, not about you. It's about your audience. And now if you had any idea that you were going to be able to sit down and play the games that you want and do whatever the hell you want, and people are just going to show up because you're such a great person, I'm going to break it to you now that is not how it's going to work. It's not going to work the way that you think it is. And a lot of the times, your persona, your initial persona, and your initial ideas will be warped to face and kind of reflect what your audience wants. And that can be either good or bad, depending on how you harbor your relationships with them. So just remember that. just please God, remember that, because that's going to be the most important. You do make the stream. You might be the initial seed, but it's the other people that are going to make you grow. You have to network. You have to spend as much time as you do on camera, off camera, maintaining those relationships. You just can't say goodbye to a friend and not see them for 15 years and expect everything to be the same as soon as you see them, right? You want to make sure that you maintain that relationship with your audience, that you want to not put an image of this is just monetary gain, that this is not just for me to toot my own damn horn, that it's there, that you're there to build them up too, that you want them to grow with you. And I think that's only natural, and it should be natural for streamers. If you want your audience to grow, you have to put the same love and care that they put into you out to them. And that's just the basics of it all. You cannot go around saying that it's just you. It's always about community. It's always going to be about another person that spent their time to sit down and say, yes, this person's worth it. You have to say the same thing. You have to commit to them. A lot of the times, a lot of the problems with streamers, especially the ones who get burnt out, is that they have commitment issues. They don't want to return the same amount of love back to their audience because it's hard. And a lot of times it's very confusing, especially if you come across unrealistic growth sometimes. Sometimes you'll get a boost. You know, you'll get lucky. I was lucky. I had 80 people on my first stream, for the love of God. That was luck. But realize what it was. Realize that it's not a matter of time sometimes, but it's a matter of timing. My initial success was because I was one of the very first people to start streaming on the PS4 network, right when I had the little share button right here on this little controller here. You just hit that share button and boom, you can go and do whatever you want. It was that easy. And I thought it was the stupidest thing in the whole wide world. But that's what it is. It was a matter of timing. I was at the right place at the right time. And you have to realize that too. Perhaps it was the right game at the right time. Perhaps it was just the right network error. Perhaps it was just there wasn't a lot of competition at the time when you first started. But you always have to keep on improving. And the best way that you can improve as an individual and as a streamer is to improve the quality relationship between you and the people that show up to watch you. Now, I want to say to everybody here right now, I will never be upset with you for leaving a platform, and I will never be upset for you for being discouraged, because I've been through that. I jumped from Twitch to YouTube gaming. My hands aren't clean on this either. But stay where the support is. Build those relationships, and if you do have to leave a platform, do it gently. Give your audience enough time. You give your job a 2-week notice, you better do a 4-month notice for your audience, preparing them if you just do decide, or that even the fact that you're thinking about it, because you don't want to give them some sort of shock. Streaming is always going to be customer service. No matter what you think it is, no matter what it is, entertainment is customer service, because you have to be able to relate with your audience. I know this one is not as angry as it usually is, but I'm going to feed the facts to you guys. And that's all I want to say. Remember, no matter what, it's going to be customer service. It's going to be able to connect with your audience. And I know I've said that about 10,000 times, but that's what it is. Realize that you are going to get typecasted. Realize that there's going to be slumps. Realize that it's okay to be upset, to take breaks, but always remember rule number 1 is communication with your audience and making that connection. As always, guys, thank you so much. I love you, and thank you for believing in me. Let's keep on growing together.